other grids like the PJM grid that supplies power to not only us in Pennsylvania, but a lot of folks here in New Jersey. The possibility of that happening is a long shot, but it is still something emergency officials say they will prepare for. One more note we'd like to pass along to viewers is that police crews will be roving parts of New Jersey still in the dark. Those patrols, police say, will continue until power is brought back. Now, in terms of when people here in New Jersey can expect power to be brought back, there are some conflicting reports. Some say within just a couple of hours, and some say by early morning. Rob, back to you.
All right, Carl, thanks very much for the update there. And you mentioned power coming back. Power, we're told now, is slowly returning to parts of upstate New York and slowly working down some power back in Albany. No doubt a number of Lehigh Valley residents were in New York City today when the power failed. There always are every day. One of them was Carl Dorsey, a resident of Palmer Township. Carl is on the phone with me now. And Carl, you were in Lower Manhattan shooting video for a musical tribute, interestingly enough, to 9/11. What happened when all this broke out?
Actually, it was quite an experience. People had already begun to fill the streets once they realized the subways and everything wasn't going to be operating properly. So they started filling the streets trying to catch buses and cabs since they became a premium instantaneously. But I was right there at Ground Zero shooting video for a musical tribute to 9/11 when all of this happened. But I got a chance to see some of the best in New York City during this crisis today.
Tell me about what you have been doing. You mentioned to me earlier tonight that you were actually helping some people to get out of Manhattan. What did you do?
Yes, actually, I'm in East Orange, New Jersey now with the second drop-off of the night. I met an 80. What I did was, since traffic was at a standstill, I started bringing elderly ladies into my car since I had air conditioning and room in my minivan. So for a few hours, we just sat there where they were cool and comfortable. And once things started breaking and moving around a little bit, then I started bringing people to their residence. So I dropped off an 80-year-old lady who walked across the Brooklyn Bridge, an 80-year-old. I dropped her off at her apartment in downtown New York, and I just dropped another couple off in East Orange, New Jersey. So that's the last drop-off for the night.
I'm sure all those folks really appreciate your efforts. In fact, we may want to talk to you a little bit more tomorrow. Could you give us a phone number to our producer when I'm finished with you here, which I need to wrap up right now, okay? Or also give us a call back tomorrow. Thanks very much. Carl Dorsey.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Carl Dorsey from Palmer Township on the phone with us tonight. The blackout left many people scrambling for a way to get to their destinations, of course. Some didn't make it. WFMZ's Jaccii Farris is live from the Allentown bus station to tell us how bus travel has fared. Jaccii?
Well, Rob, to say it was a tough day for travelers would be an understatement. If you look at the pictures of the streets of New York City, it's easy to understand exactly how transportation along the eastern seaboard could become paralyzed, especially for those people who are riding the bus lines. Now, we've seen buses come in and go out since the blackout, but we've been waiting for one bus that was supposed to arrive at 7:35 that never made it. We were told by bus officials it got stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel and had to be diverted to Newark. Now, those trying to get into New York City and go as far as Canada didn't fare much better. If they weren't bounced around from bus to bus, they drove around in circles or found themselves stranded in places like the Allentown bus station.
Took us away to Bethlehem. That was as far as we went. They gave us the option to go to Newark Airport.
You're stranded there. They told us that we were on our own once we go to Newark. Wherever you're going, you're on your own.
Buses being turned back or winding up somewhere you don't want to be. It was an unescapable dilemma for many bus riders.
I just came from State College, Pennsylvania. I'm trying to get to New York to go back home. I'm supposed to be taking care of my little brother. And I cannot get back home because the fact that the buses aren't running and it's all shut down. So now there's about 12 of us who are stranded and don't know what we're going to do or where we're going to go tonight because the buses aren't going to run.
Jeremy Wicks, like many of these people, had to find refuge with friends or in local hotels. Driver John Podhenny says his passengers barely made it out of New York in time.
When we got through the tunnel, I saw the lights out. And then I was driving up 495, and when I got to Newark, it was jammed up like a holiday. You know, so many people coming out. Unbelievable.
Transbridge runs the majority of routes out of Allentown. We spoke to some officials today who say they believe the routes will be up and running again tomorrow morning. But if you have a ticket, the best advice would be to call to make sure. In Allentown, Jaccii Farris, 69 News.
All right, Jaccii, thanks very much. Commuters in Philadelphia were also affected by today's blackout. This was the scene at 30th Street Station in Center City as travelers waited to get to their final destinations. Most of the Amtrak train rides to New York City were delayed, leaving many commuters stranded.
On my way back home to New York, the train stopped in Philadelphia due to the power outages in New York, and I guess I'm stuck here indefinitely now.
The Philadelphia Emergency Center was activated shortly after the blackout at around 5 o'clock. Fortunately, the massive power failure has not affected our area. We've been spectators, really, but if this would happen in the Lehigh Valley, the Emergency Management Director of Lehigh County says his people are prepared. WFMZ's Perla Lopez Baray is live in the studio to tell us more. Perla?
Well, thanks, Rob. County officials say local resources from the emergency standpoint are ready for any type of event, including power failure. Of course, they emphasize the Lehigh Valley doesn't have the same type of infrastructure that the big cities have, such as a subway or train system, nor the six-figure numbers in the population. Even so, officials say that major companies and hospitals in the Lehigh Valley have plants and emergency generators on hand. The 911 center at the county courthouse has a generator battery backup as well. But officials say the residents can also prepare themselves.
It gets back to the American Red Cross emergency supply kits, having an adequate supply of food and water in your home, flashlights, blankets for cold weather situations, a family plan so that you can have accountability of your loved ones and your family, and outside relative contact.
The Emergency Management Director of the Lehigh County, John Conklin, says he wouldn't treat today's incident as the day due during a severe winter storm. Conklin also says that people should be looking after themselves for this or any other type of hazard. Live in the studio, Perla Lopez Baray, 69 News.
All right, Perla, thanks very much. And that's our coverage of the power outages in the Northeast for now. Please be sure to stay tuned to 69 News for the latest information. More coming up live at 10:30.